Hello, welcome to Kimba Area School's Year 9 Introduction to Sace. We tried to flip it this year so you didn't have to come in and listen to us one-on-one. We're in a meeting, I guess, so welcome to you all.
Hello.
Okay, so Sace is a South Australian Certificate of Education. It's why you come to school, so you complete reception to Year 12 to come out with this certificate. And it's what employers, look for when you complete school. It's something that you have over other students that haven't quite completed. So how do you get your Sace? Multiple ways. What we might start with is a typical Sace program that the Sace would recommend, the school-based learning, and then we'll move into some vocational pathways, other ways to get there. So, in Year 10 at Kimba Area School, we do this thing called PLP. So that will be happening for you Year 9 students next year. It's your first introduction to Sace, and it is a compulsory subject. So what that means is you must pass that.
So yeah, must get a C. So that's involving not necessarily looking at vocational education, but career options, universities, subject selections for Year 11, Year 12, and possible university options as well. So we'll focus in on having a careers trip. So we go to Adelaide, all the students in the class plan, organise, communicate with whoever they want to go and see, wherever they want to go in Adelaide, and we go there for a week and visit these places. Generally, we go to the unis because we don't have a uni close to Kimba, and we try to go to places that we don't have around Kimba. So obviously we've got engineering or farming businesses here. We wouldn't go and visit them in Adelaide because if it was that important to them, we'd go visit them here. So we do that. We look at setting personal goals. We also do work experience. That's generally in the middle of term 2 or middle towards the end of term 2, and then they do work experience also at the end of the year. But as Ryan and I would speak to them regularly, if there's something they're really interested in, they can do work experience whenever they like, but as long as they liaison with us and we can work with their teachers that they're not missing too much work. So it's a great subject. It's run pretty well here, and yeah, so it's really good. But they must get a C. If they don't get a C, they then have to redo it in Year 11, which is a bit of a pain.
Yeah, so I guess PLP sets them up in terms of a direction for the rest of their Sace or their schooling here at Kimba. Alright, so that's the only Sace subject students usually complete in Year 10 here. So then we move into Year 11, or it's sometimes called Stage 1. So we do this thing called research practices, which is building them up for this thing called the research project. So they do that first semester here at Kimba, and then second semester they move into the research project. Students must also complete 10 credits or 1 semester of numeracy and 2 semesters, a full year, of literacy. And all of those green subjects there are compulsory, and therefore you must pass them.
I guess just with numeracy and literacy, traditionally people think of numeracy and literacy as English and maths, but there are different processes and formats that they can be achieved. So it's not just a straight maths and straight English. And if people are interested in finding out more, they can always come and see us about that.
Alright, so then we get into some free choice subjects in Stage 2 and Stage 1, so in Year 12 and Year 11, and we'll move into that now for you. We'll probably only focus on the Stage 1 today because you'll hear more next year about Stage 2. Right, so brilliant, look at that. Just lock that in there. So we sort of have 2 possible directions, in which students could aim for, which is either university or this flexible pathway option. Which what we mean by that is sort of vet vocational subjects. So the university option is the option we highly recommend if our students have the aim for university, obviously. So as you can see, we have our compulsory subjects built in that we were talking about before. So in semester 1, you're doing English, maths and research practices. And in semester 2, there's the English again. They've passed their first semester of maths, so that can come out. And they've moved into the research If you take a look at that, that leaves kids with 3 other subjects to be picking in stage in semester 1, and then obviously 4 in semester 2. So it's really something for students to be thinking about, because in both options, which we'll look at in a second, students have choices as to what subjects they want to study here at school. That can be face-to-face subjects, like teachers that we have on staff here, or you'll find out later that you can do this thing called local delivery, in which we have access to all teachers on the Eyre Peninsula, and students can tap into those courses digitally.
And it's basically the same processes as we're doing now. So a teacher would be communicating this, but it would be direct communication, so complete video link up and real time. So.
Yeah, and in year 11, I think they're meant to meet you once a term, and in
once a week.
Once a week, yes. Oh, sorry, no, I meant face to face.
Oh, yes,
once a term, and in stage 2, they're meant to meet you twice a term, and that's negotiable. Obviously, some teachers do more than that. All right, so moving into the flexible pathway then. So all we're sort of saying is a subject can come out. So instead of having 3 selections, you can drop one of those and do a vet pathway on top of that. Would you like to talk about that?
So I guess the vet pathways, and they can actually start next year. So we have sort of 3 main ways of doing vet. We have an ASBA, which is an Australian school-based apprenticeship. So that's an apprenticeship, basically someone starting Certificate 2 or Certificate 3 in the area that they want to do. That is traditionally it has to be a minimum 8 hours a week of paid work, and what we would generally do is 1 day a week or 2 days a fortnight, so they get some continuity, and we work it in with the business, the student and their parents to make sure what's best for them. At year 10, they don't drop a subject. They actually do the full range, but we are negotiable and we can work our way through that. But obviously, as we can see here, in stage 1, they've actually now got 1 less subject. So potentially they would have time to do that work, the modules and the theory base, when they're at school in their NITs, in their study lessons. The other way is called a training guarantee for secondary students. The difference for that will only really be for when students turn 16, and there are different processes that we go through. At the moment, we've got 2 students linked in with Edward John Eyre, who are offering a full range of different vet options, and we've got all the booklets there. So if you're wanting, that's probably more for year 11, but there are so many options now in terms of how students can get their vet. And the third way, and the way that we very rarely do, is actually purchasing a unit outright. So someone wants to do a Certificate 3 in, we've had some people do a Certificate 3 in accounting or something like that. We, along with the family, actually purchase the unit straight out. It's generally mostly between $3,000 to $4,000. And that really depends on the amount of nominal hours per unit. And as we can see here, with the vet, these are only 10 credits. A vet pathway can actually give students sometimes at least 50 credits. So if we're thinking if that's 50 credits, the student then only has to get a reduced amount. But what we like to do is to still give them those options, or else they really restrict what they can do when they move into stage 2.
Yeah, so it's all about keeping your options open. Obviously, you can do as much study as you want. So I guess you could do 3 subjects, semester 1, and vet on top. It just is really up to the student and what options I guess they want to keep open.
And we've had students do that in the past.
So if you're interested in vet, obviously I would recommend speaking to our vet guru, Andrew Congan.
Or Sace Master. So so anytime, it's really just organising a meeting time to come and see me, and we can work our way through it.
All right, to quickly wrap this up then, I guess in year 10, so next year, students will be completing PLP, compulsory subject. They'll do that all year. Set a plan, I guess, for where they're headed at the end of school. That's good. We thought we lost it. Year 11, so stage 1, students will complete a full year of English, 1 semester of maths at a minimum, research practices and research project. No matter which option they choose, a flexible pathway or I guess a university option, you are picking subjects at the start of year 11. So it's a matter of thinking, what subjects do I enjoy, what subjects am I good at, and I guess narrowing them down to work out what you can do in year 12.
Yeah, and as said, so because if you're doing a vet subject, a certificate 3, so certificate 3 in agriculture, a student can come out with roughly 80 credit points. So that would be 80 instead of 10. But that's as long as they complete all the modules. So there are still requirements to complete them.
So if this is all being gibberish, or you have other questions around what we've said today, please come and see either Andrew or myself. We'd love to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.